More Portland stores are closing their doors for good, citing theft and safety concerns. Target specifically has announced 3 of its locations in Portland will be closing down soon. Targets at the Downtown Galleria, the Hollywood District on Halsey, and the Southeast Powell location are all set to close on October 21st. Target says theft and organized retail crime are threatening the safety of employees and customers and making it difficult to keep stores open. The company says their efforts to prevent theft, like adding more security guards in the stores, just weren't doing enough. Target has 15 other locations in the Portland metro area. And Target isn't the only business being repeatedly targeted by thieves.
Store managers, business owners, and Portland police tell us they think the problem is going to be difficult to solve. Fox 12 investigative reporter Adrian Thomas shows us the hardest hit areas and how police and businesses are responding.
According to data from the Portland Police Bureau, the number of shoplifting crimes are at their highest point in 8 years. We took an in-depth look at the most current data from law enforcement and talked to businesses in the neighborhoods where break-ins and shoplifting have been reported most frequently. Businesses and the police investigating these crimes say the frequency of these crimes the last few years is something they've never seen before. Data from the Portland Police Bureau indicates the top 3 business districts in the city that are most often targeted by shoplifters are the Columbia Corridor, Gateway, and Parkrose. The most recent set of data from PPB shows that since 2020, shoplifting reports have gradually increased each year. This past year, it was the highest since 2015, with 5,014 reported shoplifting crimes from July 2022 to July 2023. Parkrose Hardware's flagship store is nestled in the heart of Parkrose in Northeast Portland. Store manager Craig Loop says since early 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic threw the world into chaos found its way into his store in the form of shoplifters.
You know, the 2020, the COVID, people were just blazing. They'd come in knowing and feeling that they couldn't be touched and almost feel empowered to just grab cartfuls of things and run out the door.
How does it impact you and the employees who work under you when you're dealing with this nonstop?
You know, it's a stress for all of us. Staff doesn't always feel safe. We don't feel safe sometimes in engaging and knowing your boundaries and when we need to call for, police backup. Those are all fears, and it weighs on you. I mean, I'm not going to lie that, sometimes you get a multiple activity in a day.
Loop says Parkrose Hardware, the owners of the building's property, and neighboring businesses have pooled their funds to invest in armed security, reinforced glass and business windows, and extra fencing. Loop says a hot item for thieves in his store are power tools, which the store keeps locked up while on shelves. In nearby Columbia Corridor, another area hit hard by shoplifters, Sue Kim, owner of Airport Cafe, says she has also seen an increase in break-ins and vandalism in the area, including at her cafe, which has been in her family for decades. A local restaurant may not deal with items being stolen like retail stores, but Kim says she has to take extra precaution, like making sure no cash is kept on the premises each night.
Well, it's a frustration. You just feel violated when you come into your space and things are missing or broken or other things like that. A shattered door. Immediately we have to make sure that, our crew and our staff is safe.
The Cascade Station Shopping Center, just north of Kim's Cafe, is yet another popular targeted area for shoplifters, according to Portland Police. Officers have conducted multiple retail theft operations to catch serial shoplifters. One of the officers in charge of these missions is Sergeant Jorge Mendoza with PPB's North Precinct. He also says the shoplifting problem has gotten worse since 2020 and pushed PPB to work with hard-hit businesses to set up these retail theft missions.
What we try to do is, we try to get a lot of businesses involved. There's days where one business will be busier than another, right? And so we'll have one point of contact that'll be in touch with the loss prevention folks, maybe 2, depending on the size of our mission and group. They will get this information, say, hey, we got a guy that's chronically a shoplifter, and we'll give it time.
Mendoza says once a mission is scheduled after a chronic shoplifter is identified, PPB officers wait outside a store in position to catch the criminal in the act.
We'll, tactically place ourselves to be able to respond when the person walks out of the store with, the items that he's been stealing. We try to make that as safely as possible so they don't get into a car, limit liability and some of the risk to the officers and other members of the community.
Mendoza thinks retail theft missions are having an impact and deters shoplifters from areas where missions are conducted. But Mendoza says there needs to be more accountability after the thieves are caught.
What's it going to take for the problem to get better, to get to that point where we were looking at, you said, you noticed it start to get really bad a couple of years ago. So what's it going to take for things to really improve?
I think that we do our part. I don't think we can't arrest ourselves, arrest these folks and continue to arrest them, and there's no rehabilitation, there's no consequence. Maybe stricter prosecution on these crimes, aggregating these crimes, different laws placed to hold these people accountable. I think sometimes these thefts are committed for drug-related reasons.
Back at Parkrose Hardware, manager Craig Loop says law enforcement and city officials have their work cut out for them to take on this crisis.
I think I don't see it getting better, to be honest. I think there's, we hear about a lot of activities of the city and how we can handle homelessness and drug addiction and those things. Drug addiction down here is it's really bad. You see it all the time, that it's not even hidden.
Sergeant Jorge Mendoza with PPB also tells us in the last 2 years he's been a part of 15 retail theft missions, which have led to over 91 arrests. In studio, Adrian Thomas, Fox 12 Oregon.
And we also reached out to Multnomah County District Attorney Mike Schmidt's office for comment on how he and other prosecutors are taking on the retail theft crisis. A spokesperson for his office tells us the DA and his team are working on growing the retail theft task force that was created in July. They work with police and businesses to track down repeat offenders and build better cases against them. The DA's office also says they have issued charges on 80% of the retail theft cases that have been referred to them. DA Schmidt has also been vocal supporting a new state law which takes effect in 2024. It allows DA offices across the state to better prosecute thieves that commit crimes across different county lines. The law will work by allowing prosecutors to issue more serious charges against thieves by taking all incidents of theft into account, regardless of which county those crimes were committed in.